All right, guys. In today's video, I want to talk about a tweet I posted the other day. And I usually don't do this because, who wants to see a video of a tweet I posted? But I think it's very important. This is actually the CPI inflation swap market, which is the market where people who are making predictions about uh, CPI in the future put skin in the game. And that's really the important part, right? They're not the people in this market are not analysts on the sidelines who are, have no skin in the game. They are actual market participants in this market that is predicting the future of CPI. In that sense, you can tell from that market what the CPI, what the market is pricing in and what the market expects as you go out month by month. So you can see here, this was, dated January 31st, 2023. Actually, the green line is. So the green line is the prediction from January, the last day of January, and the orange line is a prediction from the middle of January, the 1st of the 13th, 2023. And you can see how, the predictions have, gone down. I mean, they're both predicting CPI to steadily decline. They both start from this area here, month one, to decline over month two, down to month three, down to month four, down to month five, down to month six, then down to month seven. And then you can see it's kind of stabilizing. Now, month six from this January point is actually June of 2023. So the market, as I've defined it, is pricing in CPI declining to June lows. So that's very significant, right? I mean, most people, I think there's a certain consensus that, they may have noticed the CPI is coming down a little bit since October, but I think the sort of the consensus is, yeah, it's come down a little bit, but it's going to go up, right? At least on people you've seen in Twitter, right? Who are just analysts, right? They're not actually putting capital behind those ideas, at least in the sense where it's actually directly affected to the outcome of CPI. But the market is saying something totally different, right? The market is saying, no, CPI is not going to stay higher for longer, and it's actually going to decline month over month. So if that is the case, of course, reality doesn't necessarily have to follow what the market is saying. But one of the important concepts whenever you're trading or interacting with the market is that the market is never wrong, right? If you have an opinion that is contrary to the entire aggregate intelligence of all the capital in the world that's betting on a specific idea with skin in the game, your single-handed intelligence is probably not greater than the aggregate of the market. And it's just a basic understanding, right? And now the distinction there is between, the herd mentality of people who post on Twitter and, who really are considered retail traders, and the herd and the prey who are silent. They don't expose their edges. They don't say what they think is going to happen in the market. But they do own most of the capital, right? And that smart money preys on the herd. Well, smart money is pricing in CPI declining, not only like, you know, slowly, but declining dramatically. I mean, it's going month over month down to June and kind of settling down around June into end of year. But I think if this comes to pass, this period here is going to shock a lot of people, right? If CPI comes down all the way this far, I mean, it's already going to shatter expectations along the way down. But the whole FOMCs in 2020 have been centered around the idea of CPI being high and interest rate hikes being a response to CPI being high. But if CPI were to collapse down to 2.5, what do people talk about at that point? What is the topic of discussion? And that's an interesting point. I don't really have an answer for that. I would assume that at that point, you may start seeing a rise in job losses, and sort of the topic of discussion will be job losses. Now, the interesting distinction between the January 13th and 2023 prediction and January 31st, 2023, represented by the green line, is that you can see that at some point in the later half of January, this briefly changed here. The trajectory between month 10 and month 11, but has basically stayed the same. So not a huge amount to report there. Anyway, I just really wanted to bring this up because this is very, very, very important. I know people were initially talking about a Fed pivot, and sort of now that's become a meme, and people don't even consider that to be a possibility. But I think you know it's at least entertaining the idea that CPI could decline dramatically is something that is a real possibility. And I uploaded a previous video documenting how um, the government was actually changing the CPI calculation, so they could even be more dramatic than this, right? If the market is pricing real CPI declines based on the current formula to be this dramatic, and the government, has changed the formula to be a little bit more favorable to give them lower readings, then you could even see that may not even be priced into this. You could see CPI, go even further below the 2.5 or 2 level. And that's, just it's one of those things. It's a possibility. It's not a guarantee, but it's a possibility that exists in the market now. And a lot of people don't consider it. A lot of people you see on Twitter don't consider it to even be a possibility. And a lot of the times when everybody agrees, like when I say everybody, I mean like people on Twitter and people who are financial analysts and macro gurus. Whenever those type of guys like all agree on something, it's probably not going to happen. That's just the way the market works. So something to think about right there. I am going to briefly just put in a trade here on Bitcoin. This is my demo account that I've had open this position from down here, 1039. I'm looking at this FOMC swing right here. Let's see. This is the breakup that we got last Wednesday following the Federal Reserve speech. Now I'm going to set an order right here for this level down here, 2300. Just a little order. See if it gets filled. Right down there. And I'll manage it down here. So set a stop loss at 22,777. All right. Well, I hope you guys like this video. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you in the